Welcome to this week.
With the impact to my business and income, my retirement gets pushed by
only about 6 months.
Only
about 6 months.
Not years.
You should feel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Creator Weekly Live. This week, I'll be talking about updates on YouTube, to Instagram Reels, to monetization on Twitter X, some changes you may need to make to your website to prevent ChatGPT's bot from scraping it, and more. So thank you for joining me today. If you're here live, please drop a note in the live chat. I see folks are there already. Welcome, welcome. All right. Today, I want to just start by reminding everyone to take the quiz on the community tab of my YouTube channel. This week's quiz is about how Google integrates chat into its various products. Test your knowledge. See if you get the answer correct. All right. So first, I want to start talking about a major update to YouTube. What they announced this week is a big change in the way the links you share with your videos are handled. And just as a quick overview, the main changes are if you use YouTube Shorts, links in the description and in the comments will no longer be clickable. This does not apply to hashtags and @mentions and any sort of other links you can add through YouTube. These are links that you paste into the description and comments. So those are no longer clickable. The other change YouTube has made is to remove the links on the channel banner on desktop. These usually have a little favicon icon next to them. The idea is that you put those links on your About tab and then you can show them on the banner and people can click them there. I'm not sure a lot of people ever actually click those links, and it was only ever available on desktop. So the other change YouTube is making is that you can now have this sort of link showcase. You can add up to 14 links, and this will be prominently displayed on your YouTube channel, either on mobile or on desktop. People go there and they see a notice that says, these are the links. They can click it and it will pop up. I want to point out that I did create a tutorial that you should check out. If you have a YouTube channel, now is the time to set up these links. They are not actually visible to the public until August 23rd, but you can view them on your own channel once you have them set up. So make these changes, update the links on your YouTube channel so they look great. And I just wanted to show you a bit about this update, why they're making changes. The short version is that it's because there are spammers and scammers who post links in the Shorts feed. That's going to direct people to a lot of bad sites. So now those links aren't clickable. I also wanted to mention that this does not affect links in the description or comments on long-form videos or regular horizontal live streams like this one. So all that's changing is the links on Shorts and vertical live streams, so which are going to be shown in a new feed that's accessible through the Shorts feed. So it kind of goes together with Shorts. If you have a YouTube channel, you should definitely check out my tutorial. I've got both a tutorial here on my YouTube channel and on my website. Also, if you want to get all the links every week with all the updates, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter. There is a QR code in the top corner and also a link in the video description. All right. So it's great to see everyone in the live chat today. If you have any comments or questions about this week's updates, be sure to post. All right, so the first update I talked about was about the changes to links. YouTube also announced a couple of other updates that I want to mention. Give me just a second here. And the first update is a change to YouTube analytics. Get that on the screen. You can see this on the Creator Insider channel for more details, but basically channel analytics will now show new viewers versus returning viewers by platform. So you can see if you get a lot of new viewers from shorts versus live, or if your returning viewers are coming from your long form videos, but not your shorts. You can see all these things. It gives you a better idea of your audience. The other thing I wanted to mention is for YouTube. Give me just a second here. Let me switch to the appropriate tab. And now there is an update to make it easier for people to accept membership gifts on YouTube. So if you have memberships set up on your YouTube channel, people can be gifted memberships, but only if they have it configured in their account to allow that to happen. I think it used to be on a per channel basis. Now you can do it all with one setting in your YouTube account. It's a great question. Do you think QR codes will be the way to go, or are they also subject to spamming and so forth? You know, I think QR codes are really just catching on here in the US. They can lead to spam just like any other link, and I think some people are reluctant to scan QR codes because you can't immediately tell where the link is going to go. So you have to trust the person who is sharing the QR code. I think it could definitely be a vector for spam, but it does make it easier for people who are not on a desktop computer to follow a link, because otherwise they have to type it in. But that's why I also have the links in the description of the live stream video here. So if you don't want to scan the QR code to read my newsletter, you can just click or tap that link. So let's switch gears a little bit here. I wanted to make sure that I've mentioned everything for YouTube. Oh, so the next thing I want to talk about, just really a brief mention, is that this week I was on Tinkering with Tech with Michael Daniels. I see some of the same folks here in the live chat who were in the audience for that live stream. But if you were not, I'd love for you to go to the channel and check it out, because I think passkeys and account security are so important that this is something you should definitely be thinking about. those are the main updates for YouTube. And I wanted to shift gears a little bit and mention a couple of updates on Twitter X. Still, honestly, I think I'm probably going to keep calling it Twitter because X does not roll off the tongue. But just a quick update that they are reducing the eligibility requirements to get ad revenue sharing. It used to be 15 million impressions over the past 90 days. Now it's only 5 million impressions. My account definitely does not qualify for that. And they've reduced the payout amount from $30 to $10. Isn't Musk's child named X? Actually, I think Musk's child has a much more complicated name that I can't remember off the top of my head. It has an X and a bunch of other characters. Maybe they use X as the nickname. It is clearly, though, Elon Musk's favorite letter of the alphabet. So if you're interested in trying to monetize on Twitter X, you should just be aware that it's easier to do it now, slightly. I think it is notable that they changed the minimum payout amount from $30 to $10, which suggests that most people who are monetizing now probably are not earning that much. And because you have to have, it's not Twitter Blue, it's X. It's not X Blue either. I can't remember the new the new X subscription to monetize. If you're only getting a payout of $10 per month, it's actually probably not covering your full subscription. So that's something to consider if you're going to try monetizing on X, whether it's actually worth it if the earnings aren't enough to cover what you're paying for the subscription, if there's no other reason why you would be subscribing. The other update to X for creators I want to mention just really briefly is that for creators who have paid subscriptions, they can now limit replies on their public tweets to just subscribers. This makes a lot of sense. If you want people to subscribe to you on Twitter X, you definitely want to give them some perks, make people feel kind of special. So this way they not only get the content that's just for subscribers, they also get this potential perk on the public tweets because only subscribers can reply. I think it's interesting that Twitter is really pushing this subscriber model. I actually think it's better than the ad revenue sharing, just in terms of the potential for how much you earn, but also in terms of the health of the platform. The way ad revenue sharing works is that you've got to get a lot of replies and engagement from other subscribers. That really optimizes for people posting things that get other people riled up. So, if you post something interesting that doesn't get people upset, it's probably not going to get that many replies. Get people riled up, there's tons of replies. Whoop, you get the ad revenue cut. That's not healthy. Whereas subscriptions are much better because that is encouraging people to post exclusive content. So we'll see how this goes in the long term. Now I'm going to switch gears just a little bit to Instagram, I know some folks here are Instagram users too. I am, but I am not a power user. This is actually really interesting though. Instagram now makes it so that you can invite people to collaborate with you on a post or on a reel. You can invite up to 3 other people in the collaboration, and when you have it as an official collaboration, it posts to all your accounts, all the different collaborators' accounts. So if I collaborated with 2 other people, all 3 of us would have the same content in our feed to our audiences. Seems like a really great opportunity to maybe get new audiences, share your content more widely if you're an Instagram creator. All right. So those are the really big updates for video creators for the most part and people on social media. I just need to take a second to call up the new thing. Oh, I had one more update about Twitter and X, that they have finally updated their brand page. You can get an official copy of the logo if you want to put it on your website. I think it's maybe a little early to replace everything, because Musk did say at some point that this is just an interim logo maybe, and it is basically just a Unicode character. It's not that unique. They may be changing it. So personally, I'm going to wait a bit because I don't want to spend a lot of time updating things on my website just to have to update them again. Also, I'll note that if you go to the Twitter X page for creating a widget to put on your website, so you can basically have a fancy button for people to click, that seems to still say Twitter on it. So that has not actually been updated yet. Because it's pulling that with a script, I would expect those to update automatically. And it hasn't happened yet. We'll see. So I am taking a wait and see approach, probably wait at least another month to see how things settle out. It's also not clear to me how they're going to do the changeover from twitter.com to x.com. This is actually a huge, huge project. And if it's not done properly, it's going to break all the links to Twitter across the web, which would be bad for everyone. So hopefully they are working on that very carefully before they change the links. But again, I'm going to wait to make any changes until everything has settled down. Yeah. You say you see the bird on other sites. I think the bird is going to be on other sites for a long time. Heck, I still see Google Plus buttons on other websites, and that shut down in 2019. So I think the Twitter bird will be around the web for a long time. So while we're talking about websites, Google made a couple of announcements about how they are handling certain types of structured data. Structured data is basically code that you put on your website to tell Google and other search engines and other sites that analyze web pages what the data refers to. That was sort of a bad explanation, but it's basically code to structure your data. And so Google has said that they are going to handle the how-to and FAQ structured data slightly differently. In Google search, going forward, the FAQ structured data rich results will only be shown for well-known authoritative government and health websites. For all other sites, the rich result will no longer be shown regularly. And I assume this means that there was some spamminess to the way websites were using this structured data. The other change is to how to structured data. And how to structured data rich results will now only be shown to desktop users in Google search, not for mobile devices. They do note that Google indexes the mobile version of a website as the basis for indexing, so you need to have the structured data markup in the mobile version of your site to be eligible to have those rich results on desktop. So those are really important changes if you use those types of structured data on your own website. The other important thing I wanted to mention today for website owners is a change from ChatGPT. Actually, the company's name is OpenAI. They create the ChatGPT generative AI smart chatbots. The way they have done that is by scraping content from all over the internet. They finally have released details on how you can add a string to your robot's text file for your website or blog to prevent the GPT bot from crawling your site. This is something that's worth doing if you don't want OpenAI to use your website's data. The page I'm showing here is SEO Roundtable. It has more details, and again, there's links in the description of the video that you can use. And I just wanted to say a few words about how frustrating the AI-generated text is. I've been playing with it on several different platforms, and whatever it is, it all includes bad information. It's fine if you want to sort of generate some flowery language around things, but anything that should be fact-based, it's terrible. So I feel like blocking the bots that scrape sites to do this is probably going to be bad overall. I understand why people do it. I may add it to my own site, blocking the scraping, but what this is probably going to mean is that future versions of the ChatGPT generative large language model chatbots will have less high quality content that they're trained on, because who is not going to put this block there? It's the spammers, it's people who generate their content with these large language model AIs to start with. I feel like it's just going to decrease quality overall. So we will see what happens. Interestingly, Google has not provided any option to block them from using your website's data in training their large language models. So, this is a great tip here. You can use open.ai playground for reviewing content, and Google has Google Bard. There's all kinds of places where you can play with this and actually see the quality of the content. Some of it is really bad. And I think the difficulty is that the large language models like ChatGPT, like Bard, their output is always worded very nicely. It's organized nicely into paragraphs. So it can be harder to spot the inaccuracies, because sometimes it will be mostly correct and there's just be one little bit that's wrong. But when you're reading this well-structured series of paragraphs, it can be more difficult to spot the bad information. So I am concerned about it. So those are the main updates for this week. I just want to take a look at my notes. And I think I've covered everything I wanted to mention. Thank you so much for joining me live. I see there's a question here. Any tips on how to grow on Twitter? I personally am not an expert on Twitter. And unfortunately, the people I see having their accounts grow the fastest seem to be posting a lot of clickbait, a lot of politics, a lot of things that get people riled up. That may be the way to do it. I don't know. I think you have to decide what you're using the Twitter X platform for, and also think about how people will see you. So if you post sort of rage bait content, that may come back to you and people say, why should I follow Braylon, who just posts this rage bait on Twitter? So why are you actually using the platform? Think about that. And this is a great point from Jolene about I don't really enjoy the idea of chatting with AI. That's why I generate my own words and let Playground proofread it for me. I think what's interesting is that these large language model AI bots, you chat with them, but they're not actually smart. They don't actually understand what you're saying. And so you're not really chatting with anything other than like a fancy kind of autocomplete thing that riffs on the keywords. Oh, welcome Eileen, who joined us today. I want to give Eileen a big shout out because she is on top of a lot of the updates on X and Twitter. So I follow her there and get some of my tips there. So that is the end of this week's updates. Big changes in YouTube. I'd really love it if you check out the tutorial I created. There's a video here on my channel and a written tutorial on my website. Be sure to take this week's quiz. It's from the community tab on my YouTube channel. And I'd like to see how people do that. And beyond that, subscribe to my newsletter to get the updates in advance of the live chat, and I will see you next Sunday. Thank you so much for joining me today.